Good afternoon and welcome. It's April 12th, 2026, and you are online watching Last Week Today. Roasting the press. My apologies. I got that wrong. I have a bit of a flu. I'm a little bit under the weather. So naturally, the person who knows more about everything is at my side. Richard, how's it going today?
Not too bad, I guess. Thanks for the compliment there.
Try to be nice. You correct me every once in a while, and you're very precise with certain things.
Oh yeah, I tried.
How goes it?
It goes well. The temperature out here is just around 20 degrees, and it's quite nice. The sun is behind the clouds, though, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that's just something I got to live with here.
You are lucky. You live in northern Alberta or northern BC, isn't it? You live on the west coast?
Middle of BC.
Yeah. And the weather is nice. I am in a lake on Lake Ontario and Lake Huron. I'm sorry. I'm in a lake on Lake Huron, and it's cold. It's only 3 or 4 above out here today. And I have a bit of a cold, so I'm a little slower than I should be. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's chilly, but it's not.
Okay.
So
you can always tell when the weather outside is nice. You have a window in the background, and it's shining brightly, and it lights up your room.
Oh yeah. And then I got the light coming in from this window here.
Shall we go into our first piece?
Absolutely. Let's take a look and see what we got today.
I'm going to try and keep track of everything for the next hour. Forgive me if I cough. Here we go. Have you ever listened or read something called the Daily Dark Web?
No.
The Daily Dark Web is a fantastic, wonderful weekly publication. It's an online web publication that talks about things that most of us in legacy media don't know anything about. And my favorite Daily Dark Web post this week is the April 9th post titled Top 17 Live Intelligence Dashboards You Need to Bookmark Right Now. And this story is great. It curates a powerful collection of 17 browser-based open source intelligence tools for tracking conflicts, for tracking geopolitical risks, for tracking cyber threats, for tracking gold and silver markets, and for tracking AI developments. And the neat thing about these things is that every last one of them is an app. They all rely on freely available public data. They come with standard disclaimers saying don't take us seriously, but they are all from primary data sources. These things are great. It's something that I think legacy media should have started doing years ago, but haven't. I'm going to go through the 17 of them quickly. The first one is something called Conflictedly. It is essentially a minimalist aggregator of all the local information on live armed conflicts throughout the world, all the local information on insurgencies, things like X and Facebook posts. It's also includes a lot of data on military operations worldwide. It's focused primarily on raw incident data and includes social media posts, public records, and satellite imagery. It's not the best on this site, but it's absolutely wonderful if you want to do a story in the Middle East right now. The second one is the ACLED Conflict Index. This is academic. You can tell they got nice graphics. This is an academic focused dashboard. It ranks global conflict OSINTs, free data online. It focuses primarily on academic sources, accredited media sources, a lot of press releases, a lot of government sources defined up according to their country of origin. Again, absolutely essential for getting information on local stories. Third one is something called Open Source Projects Developer. It's curated open source information with a lot of security tools that help you build custom open sourced Intel stacks. So you can rent this for $20 a month, and you can build a custom open source Intel stack. I was thinking of using it to track all the stories coming out of our list of 90 odd new media outlets that we've been tracking for the last couple of years. Intel Map, best map, a 3D interactive map of conflict zones focusing on the Middle East, Eastern Europe, with lots of layers. Anybody who knows about graphics programs knows you can put different layers, meaning different things over top of the base maps. And this one has databases for military bases, flights, and something they call the strategic control index. And it's absolutely wonderful. Ion Intel is also pretty good, but it's blank. You can tell it's more open source. It includes Polymarket. It includes predictions from Polymarket onto its grid. So that is something I like. Transparency.ai. This is a monitor of AI deployments across companies, across governments. It also monitors AI failures, incidents, government policies, and early threat detection around AI. So it's useful if you have a tech beat. It's wonderful to have. Here's my favorite name. This is EpsteinFury.net. It tracks U.S. military spending and the U.S. military spending burn rate, the dollars per second the U.S. is spending in the Middle East in order to destroy the Iranian government. There's areas for casualties. There's the energy impact of having the entire Middle East mostly shut down. And everything's on a 3D interface, so you can twirl it around and lift it up and lift it down. It's actually pretty good. HedgeGlobal.com. This is another one of those graphic-based risk monitors covering press releases from 198 different nations, focused on elections, trade routes, AI summaries taken from social media channels. Signal Cockpit, which is a real-time dashboard for everything happening in Iran. If you're doing a story on Iran, the failure for the negotiations over the last day, this is where you go. IntelCockpit.com, more Iran stuff, slightly different databases. Intel HQIO. This is another Iran-based thing. It tracks missiles, drones, interceptions, and order of battle. And a lot of AI is plugged in there as well. AI Detective is another one. It's an AI-powered tool for automated open source information collection from public sources. This doesn't provide you the data, but this is how you compile a list into a custom data set that you could use for journalists or pretty much anything else. 14 is SitDeck.com, another one of those stacks that contains 60 plus widgets, AI recommendations, analysis. This is primarily for gold, silver, futures, and commodities markets. Again, a useful beat if you're going to be an online journalist. Next one, I believe, is Situation Monitor, AI process global news aggregator. It's worth noting at this time that about half of these guys are free. We can download it and modify it and change it and update it any way we want. At least for the first 30 days. Some of them are free forever, but these are all useful tools. 16th one of the 18 on the list is a little sparse, but it's the vFinder Fraud Intelligence. This is another one of those Python-based tools for fraud detection and aggregation. This is something you have to program yourself. you can use a map from one of the other sources to plug it in to get a reasonable update of what's going on in the world. Second last one is SOCRadar.io. This is an Iran-Israeli cyber dashboard tracking sponsored cyber in for operations, hacktivism, dark web signals in that conflict. This is the online battle between Iran and Israel. Last one is something called opengridworks.com /power plants. This is an interactive map of global power plants, global power grids, energy infrastructure, and what's on and what isn't for critical infrastructure analysis. And if you look, there's lots of little lines in there that explain not only which power plants are working, but where their energy is going to. Now, overall, this article serves as a practical, no-fluff resource for anybody needing live situational awareness beyond mainstream media. It emphasizes precision, minimalism, and the ability to access high-quality, real-time, open-source intelligence without worrying about the bias of AI or the bias of search engines or the legislation of governments. These things bypass governments, and if they don't, we can update them and change them so they can continue to bypass governments. Richard, what are your comments?
Yeah, that's a lot of interesting sites that you're finding there. I guess I'll have to watch this show again just to try and get some of those things and put them onto my radar.
I think it's also worth noting that the show notes, which will come up tomorrow, anybody listening tonight, check the show notes. You'll have direct links to those things. You'll have direct links to the original article. The original article has some strong things to say about their favorite websites. I think the original daily dark web post tends to prefer open source projects .dev and a couple of others, and you can learn a lot. I just thought there was so much information out here. It was worthwhile just going through them in a quick and dirty manner, just to give people an option.
Let the people decide for themselves if they're going to spend time looking at those things.
Absolutely. What I think is important is that we've been building apps for our phones in our spare time for 20 years. Anybody can use one of these apps and either use the data, the open source data that's available online, or they can build their they can connect their own data sources. It's like a big RSS feed for the world. And some of the better sources here also have AI connections, something like Grok or Anthropic, which looks at the data collected and then draws conclusions from them.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's interesting. I'll have to take a closer look at that because it's, I get the information. The information I get is from Telegram news groups.
Yes.
And they're usually doing their analysis and presenting the information to the people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that I maintain that in my quest for information. But yes. These things might be useful too.
I would argue that most of these are less than 3 years old. They all grew up out of the COVID lockdowns and the censorship that was applied across the boards during that period.
I guess the COVID lockdowns got people the programmers to work because they didn't have anything to do.
Lots of spare time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's important that people realize it. That COVID had benefits. The scamdemic did have benefits for us.
It did, but you have to look for those benefits, and there were certainly downsides to what happened as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You went to protests. I went to protests. We made a great many new friends. We socialized. For some of us, it was the time of our lives.
Yeah.
But for most of the rest of the population, they stayed indoors and slowly shut down the brain cells.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. A lot of the people that I met during that clampdown, now they're starting to just basically say anything that's out there is just propaganda. So
Yeah, that's interesting, huh?
anything that I find, oh, that's just propaganda. And I'm sitting there, but that's not what mainstream media loves to do, the propaganda crap.
They don't have the tools to parse what's actually going on. I think that's one of the advantages of something like this daily dark web list. 17 real-time intelligence dashboards that track real-time information.
Yep.
I think the primary source material is something we all need to start referencing these days, and that's why I wanted to bring this out. I hope some people will take advantage of it and move forward.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Shall we go on to our next piece?
Sure, why not?
Our next piece, oddly enough, starts with something I did a very long time ago. Now, I picked up this list of 17 apps on the daily dark web by accident. Somebody gave that to me, and I have no idea where they got it from. So I checked out the daily dark web, and this is the newest post on the daily dark web, and I was like shocked and appalled. I have so much information, but I know about apps. Back when I covered the aerospace industry, I edited another publication. It was the Commercial Space Blog. And for 3 years, while it was ongoing, we covered something called the NASA Space Apps Challenge. Now, the intent of the challenge was to see if there was something which could be done with the huge amounts of open source data available on the then much newer internet. This is particularly true of astronomy data, because the best astronomers are amateurs astronomers who work by themselves with no government funding or anything. They do major, wonderful things. And there was just so much available online that NASA thought, gee, I wonder what happens if we got somebody around to do something with it. Now, the big score during the 3 years the contest was held was a Canadian company called Skywatch, which won everything. It was competing against 200 different companies all around the world in 2014. And well, as outlined in the May 15th, 2014 Toronto Space Apps Challenge press release, NASA awards Toronto team Skywatch with best use of data in International Apps Challenge. And according to this press release, which I posted about in the Commercial Space Blog, the application essentially takes worldwide observatory data generated by scientists who are tracking the movement of the stars and combines it in an easy to understand Twitter-like setup on cell phones. They plotted the data collected on Google Sky, and they just had to match up everybody's data. And the first thing that this apps challenge did was do a sky map of everything they got a hold of. The goal was to allow the general public to keep up with all the new discoveries being seen and recorded in space. There wasn't just ground installations. There was also the Hubble Space Telescope. Nowadays, there's the James Webb Space Telescope. And they were all supposed to take advantage of the vast amounts of data collected daily by international observatories. Now, here is the punchline to the story. Now, this is Skywatch's website today. It emerged from the 2014 Space Apps Challenge as the solution for astrophysicists, anybody who needed near real-time data from space observatories, and just anybody who wants to collect sky data. And like I said, this is a screenshot from the website that I did today. The company is still in existence. Now, after winning the challenge, founders James Silfres and Dexter Jaguila, you can see them in this picture back here from the people who won the Skywatch Challenge in 2014. You can see them back there. Silfres and Jaguila, well, they launched the world's first API for geospatial data in 2016, and they made good money from it. Now, Skywatch has since expanded its service to include partnerships with various satellite operators, various governments, and various resource companies. Skywatch has also been involved with disaster relief efforts, providing satellite data to support response operations. That's essentially responding to crises. And I want to say, based on publicly available information, Skywatch currently makes around $13 million Canadian annually. That supports a 5-person staff, continuously building apps for the astronomy community. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that an API for military and civilian news, or silver news or gold news, essentially the stuff we talked about in the previous segment, is built using exactly the same API tools and in the identical same way as Skywatch was back in 2013. And I would suggest that maybe not you and me, Richard, I've never done an app before, but I think somebody should explore developing these new tools for news outlets specifically. What do you think?
Well, that would be nice. The thing is, though, is it going to be truthful?
Well, I think if you explain in advance what the primary sources are for the data, that makes the data independently validatable.
Okay.
And that to me is why it's important. I accept as a given that government press releases are going to be full of lies and false propaganda.
Yes, of course.
But a lot of stuff will be truthful. I think a lot of news sources are problematic, others aren't. Right. I think social media channels, Facebook and X, and they tend to get ground news that other people normally wouldn't get. I think they may or may not be truthful. But I think having the primary data from these governments, from these corporations, from the average man in the street, that will give us an absolutely better overview of what's really going on. And we won't have to listen to legacy media anymore.
Yeah, I know. It would be nice to get rid of them. Jeez.
What are you looking for?
I'm just making some toast. I'm hungry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm listening and maybe I'll comment back.
You used to work in IT a long time ago. Did you do any apps or?
Yeah, I did. Well, not really apps. I did software development for that Windows, basically. I wasn't doing the phone apps and things like that, because it just wasn't part of my forte. I like doing the coding to a machine.
And that's fair, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did do. I guess you could call them apps. They were earlier apps. This was what it would have been 15 years ago. I would have been doing that.
Oh wow, that's not bad.
Yep. The Not TV also was that was developing into apps also. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't my area.
I worked on programs like this mostly in a sales capacity, but I worked for getting development funding. I worked on apps like this such a long time ago. It wasn't called an app. It was called middleware, IBM middleware. That's how old I am.
Yeah, I guess I did that stuff too. A lot of the software I wrote was dealing with GPS and navigating tractors through farmers' fields, and also image ice reconnaissance and stuff like that. But so those were programs that needed to be written for a specific platform. But
you make a good point. You said in the last piece, which relates to this piece, that the key is being able to decide whether or not the data is valid. And you mentioned it again this time. How do you think we need to go about validating the data?
Well, a lot of times I would just take, with some of the stuff I did in the databases, you just basically looked at it and had the system say, okay, well, is this within the valid range? Is this within something we could accept as a valid range? And that's what I used to do. So, from some of the software I had to write, the interesting thing is about it all, I did I used to do a lot of stuff with the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
The downhole well log analysis stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever we were processing that data, because we had old data that was on floppy disks.
Okay.
And that had to be brought across. And of course, we had to validate, make sure that the data was being brought in was within acceptable limits.
Okay.
Because sometimes with those floppy disks, you get the ones and zeros flipping on you.
Oh, wow.
So you have to make sure. I mean, you get a number that says 120, and then all of a sudden, the next reading is 12. So you just had a few bits that changed. So you had to, you had to try and validate it. So what I did is I let the software try and validate it.
Okay.
And then, of course, anything that was out of the ordinary, I would just basically pass it on up and let other people look at it. So that way, the geologists and geophysicists, they knew more of what that stuff was supposed to be. So
that's fair. You would be looking for obvious breaks in coherent data.
That's right. Yeah.
Zeros and ones transcribed when you don't think they should be.
That's right. Yeah. And of course, let the professionals who know that stuff determine if it should be, if that number was accurate or not. And they used to enjoy that because they would see that my software was determining that.
Yes.
And they didn't have to spend time looking at it. So it made sense to them. They liked it.
So once the raw data was assessed, it went up the food chain to people who can assume the data set was good, but try to make a comprehensive whole out of what was going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a lot of fun doing that with that downhole well log analysis stuff. And I got to understand the concept of oil, which is something that people don't know about. The oil, and when they say it's running out of oil, well, just let it sit for a few months and it'll refill again.
That's a slightly different story, but that's another one of those stories that maybe we need to get out better.
Yeah. Oil is not going to go away.
Well, it's the myth that oil is finite seems to be killing a lot of people in the Middle East.
Yeah, well, it does. We know that. Well, the only thing that's finite is that they're not allowing the oil to come out.
Yes, I agree with that. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Now, if they would open up the Strait of Hormuz again and let the oil flow on those tankers, the price of gas would drop. Today, I was kind of surprised. It was $1.85 a liter for just regular gas.
Yeah, I bragged about how since I got the truck 3 years ago, I've never had to pay over $100 for a tank of gas. And then I said my first day was last week, and now yesterday it was up to $118 for a tank of gas, and tomorrow it'll be up to 130.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, actually, here it's going down.
Oh, how come?
Well, we got enough oil and gas out here. We don't need to worry about it. We just have to process it.
Now that's interesting. I didn't know BC had oil and gas. I thought it had to talk nicely to Alberta to get some.
Oh no, they've got some here. They can. They're able to get down to it. The thing is that we got mountains to drill through.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a bit more drilling, but hey, it works.
What I find fascinating about your description of what you did building an early version of apps is essentially the workflow.
Mm-hmm.
You validate the raw data, and then you try and make everything fit together. And sometimes it doesn't, and maybe that's what we should be focusing on in the future, rather than press releases from federal government monkey mugs.
Yeah, and my versions of AI were the ones that were being used, because I had to write the software that would determine where the margins were.
That's fascinating. I believe we should go on to our next piece. I don't know if that'll provide as much useful information as our last piece, but it will certainly be more inflammatory.
Oh, okay.
Marianne, are you going to come out? Sorry. Here she comes. She always does the fun pieces.
Okay. So I wanted to play contrast Mr. Vance's current press release with The Dictator by Sacha Baron Cohen.
We are going to contrast two videos. The April 11th CBS News on YouTube post under the title "JD Vance says U.S. and Iran did not come to a deal."
Let's start with that one.
Let's start with that one.
Very serious stuff.
Okay.
Very serious stuff. Okay.
3 minutes of a lot of bullshit, but serious stuff. Here we go.
Hello, thank you for watching CBS News 24/7. I'm Ali Bauman. We want to take you now to Islamabad, Pakistan, where Vice President J.D. Vance is speaking after a marathon negotiating session with Iran. Let's watch.
Bridge the gap and get to a deal. We have been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement. And I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could. And they have chosen not to accept our terms. Questions?
Sir, Nick Robertson from CNN. Precisely what have they rejected here? Can you help us understand it a little bit?
Well, I won't go into all the details because I don't want to negotiate in public after we negotiated for 21 hours in private. But the simple fact is that we need to see an affirmative commitment that they will not seek a nuclear weapon, and they will not seek the tools that would enable them to quickly achieve a nuclear weapon. That is the core goal of the President of the United States, and that's what we've tried to achieve through these negotiations. Again, their nuclear program, such as it is, the enrichment facilities that they had before, they've been destroyed. But the simple question is,
Well, let's dodge questions. We've been in let's ask a valid question and responded with, well, we've been in private negotiations for 21 hours. Therefore, I'm going to lead you off like this.
Yeah.
So the question befalls, what is really going on with what the United States seeks with Iran? For example, it has a lot of military bases, and each military base just happens to be on resources in Europe and Middle East. It's planted, it put almost like putting guards on resources. So what's going on with Iran? Is it an old animosity battle from 2,000 years ago, or is there a resource there? What is going on?
Or maybe Israeli government just hates him.
I think there are various layers. I think it's done like this.
Yeah.
And I think there are various layers of incentive all the way to whatever this is. Okay. And I would say what's interesting is that Vance talks about we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. Isn't that nice? Well, I'm just curious, because we're going to play the next video. Why are they not honing in on every other country? Like, make sure the Congo doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Make sure North Korea doesn't have a nuclear. It might already. So why are we allowing it? What's going on? Why? So let's put it.
I think that's the Israeli government. But all right, shall we go back to the next video?
A comic video on this from 2012. Sacha Baron Cohen, The Dictator.
Here we go.
No, show me my nuclear weapons. I can't do it. I can't do it. This is the beard of Doom Rocket? This is my weapon? I will be a laughing stock. All my friends have got nuclear weapons. Even Ahmadinejad. And he looks like a snitch on Miami Vice. Would it kill him to wear a tie? I mean, is every day in Iran Casual Friday? Where is the head of my nuclear program and procurer of women? Where is nuclear Nadal?
You had Nadal executed, Supreme Leader.
Why did I do that?
Supreme Leader,
Nadal.
we are just months away from refining weapons-grade uranium, and we are set to test the missile next week.
It is too round on the top. It needs to be pointy. Round is not scary. Pointy is scary. This will put a smile on the faces of the enemy. They will think that it is a huge robot's dildo flying towards them.
No, Supreme Leader, the shape of the missile top has nothing to do with aerodynamics. It is about the payload delivery.
No, it sticks in the ground and then kaboom.
Supreme Leader, I think perhaps some of your information about bombs is coming from cartoons.
Nonsense. They were research films. And in them, the victims of the bomb would get very sooty faces, and then a see-through version of themselves started rising up towards heaven while playing a harp.
In this film, just one question, was there a duck who, when the explosion happens, his bill goes around the back of his head, and then in order to talk, he has to put it back this way?
There was somebody who suffered a deformity like that, yeah.
Okay. I am now 100% sure that you are watching cartoons.
Have you spoken to the experts about this? Have you consulted Professor Bobai?
Who?
Professor Bobai, the one with the incredibly strong forearms that are missized for his body.
The man you are discussing is called Popeye.
Bobai.
He is not a professor. Popeye is, as the song tells us, a sailor man.
Indulge me. For 1 second, pretend that I'm an idiot.
Okay, I'm there.
And
So what is happening? Okay, there are many suggestions from Sacha Baron Cohen. And is he making a joke on what he sees in Iran, or is he making a joke of the perceptions from Americans and what Americans or any other country sees of Iran with cows in the background when they're trying? What is Sacha Baron Cohen doing? Let's start with that.
I think Baron Cohen is trying to have it both ways. He is obviously making fun of the audience because I've met Iranians. I went there once quickly for a wedding, and they are far smarter than we give them credit for. But at the same token, he's also making fun of them.
Yeah, he's go ahead, Richard.
No, it's fine. Carry on. I agree with that.
Yeah, I see all of that. He's really capturing everybody. He's brilliant. Baron Cohen's a brilliant comedian, right? So then I turn to the next thing. What is Baron Cohen trying to communicate to us? That's at the cusp of the conflict with nuclear weapon development.
I don't know. I think the joke that the dictator gave, but he didn't make it as a joke, but the point where he said, all of my best friends have nuclear weapons, even that guy who looks like a snitch on Miami Vice.
I made a bet about.
So I think he's quite seriously making fun of the Americans' perception, or maybe not even their perception anymore. Maybe their standby justification for anything.
He's certainly poking fun at what he's saying is that this isn't even to do with nuclear weapons or uranium or cows. It's really just about who can swing the biggest sword in the sandbox.
Mm-hmm. And there's a subtext going on there too. We didn't watch the entire 4-minute segment.
Yeah.
But the scientist who disagreed with the dictator was hauled away and killed at the end of it. Yeah, and then 2 years later, the scientist who wanted to hear the story about what happened to that guy, he was hauled away and killed too. Anybody who said anything untoward.
So here we are in 2026, and Vance is evading the questions from the press.
Yes.
About what the real reasons, what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we know how we've been given many versions of how the negotiations are going. I mean, we were told that they negotiate with bombs. We were told that they negotiate with meat eaters. I don't know.
I'm told from Vance it was a very hard negotiation. It must have taken some time for him to recover from the negotiation and change his shirt and comb his hair.
And he would not answer. Very good. He would not answer the question directly. He would not answer it because basically I think people want to know what are you actually negotiating and what are the points? And he evaded it.
Yeah. I also mentioned I have a predisposition against Israel in this particular war because I think Israel is doing some mighty bad stuff. But I would argue that maybe the American government isn't sure what they want in order to disengage. I would argue that they unilaterally announced success several times over the last month.
I just wanted to clarify one point. I don't think that we're saying, I think we're distinguishing between the government corporation running the countries, mm-hmm. such as Israel, and the people. So, for example, if Carney made anything Carney does, none of us are. We don't know.
We're how Canada. We don't know how we got there.
How did Carney even get in there?
We're not even sure who he had to bribe to get a majority government.
Okay, so this guy's in there making decisions on the stage, buying military equipment, mm-hmm. and 98% of us don't agree. We are not informed. We're not told about this, and we have no voice. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to suggest that we open that up to Israel as well. The people may not be all behind what the government corporation there is saying.
I would argue that based on what I've read, there is a lot of problems with Netanyahu's rule. He has constant, ongoing weekend protests. People who want him out of the government. He also is being every time peace breaks out, Netanyahu is drawn back into court on a number of different charges. If the court is about to make a decision, it's almost as if a new war breaks out. So again, I'm not totally sure about that context, but it does seem to suggest that just like the movie The Dictator, real life is often far more goofy and confusing than we are led to believe through J.D. Vance press conferences.
Who elected J.D. Vance?
I believe the American people.
Did they really?
Well, they voted him and
On
Trump
full
in
cons- on full
on
consent.
a ticket.
Yeah. And as much consent as we had about the gentleman named Carney?
Well,
Okay.
no, I would argue that a year or so ago, Trump had a legitimate majority government. Yeah, Carney has never. Carney had a minority government. It looks like he'll have a majority as early as Tuesday this week when the by-elections are taking place. And Carney says he can scoop out a bunch of other politicians from other parties. I don't know what he's offering them. I would imagine he's offering them some sort of money. There is substantial indications that he of bribery afoot. There's substantial indications of all sorts of weird stuff going on. So Carney. To be fair, Trump's not a hero either, particularly invading Iran. But Carney in particular, I would argue that we knew he was bad going into it. Make sense?
Yep.
Richard, what do you think?
Well, Carney doesn't belong where he's at right now. He was selected for that position
Yeah.
because he's stupid, and he'll follow anybody.
I don't know if he's stupid. He lies to the people, but he says it in such a dull, monotone way that nobody ever catches him on the lies. He seems to have talked more floor crossers into joining the Liberals than any other amount of floor crossers in Canadian history. He seems to have gone out of his way to convince those people to move over to the Liberal side.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of is that he's offered them massive amounts of money, investments, shares, stocks, whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, we're never going to see that unless we demand that the information be made public as to what these people are getting.
Yeah.
So is Canada actually making something public? Honestly? Like doing it honestly?
I would argue that I would argue that there are people that are trying to get the word out. I mentioned Dan Cooper at the Bureau.
Yeah.
I mentioned Blacklock's Reporter, which has an absolutely wonderful custom database of everything happening in Parliament that they go through with a fine-tooth comb every morning, and they bring out some really good stories. I think every once in a while we talk about good stuff, but you're right, and sometimes press conferences are not the best primary source material, as are sometimes press releases, which brings me back to the comment Richard made earlier on in the show about how you got to validate the data before you know what's going on. Does that make sense?
I agree.
This looks like a very subtle and nuanced debate. Anything more before we go on to the next or what?
No, I think we covered that quite well.
Yeah.
Regrow your teeth, I think, again.
What? Oh yeah, we got one more piece on tonight.
Yeah.
What can we do this one?
Cue it up for us. Did we do regrow your teeth last week?
I don't think so. I think I thought we just did that this week. I did it this week, anyways. We talked about it last week.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is that frequency is becoming something that everybody is going to be shocked with. Frequency is how the Egyptians built the big pyramids, because they were able to use frequency to move things around.
Fair enough. We got to say the same thing 3 times before people will remember it.
Yeah, well, this is rather interesting about regrowing teeth, and tomorrow I'm doing another one on frequency. Or no, Tuesday I'm doing another one on frequency.
Here we go. The April 11th. I checked. I thought we may have made a mistake, but you put this up yesterday.
Yeah.
Munga Minds on BitChute post regrowing teeth. Here we go.
Matt, can you please talk about regenerating new teeth? I've talked about there's a guy up in Canada who is regenerating teeth with frequency.
Accidentally, when I applied the ultrasound, I found the lower incisor grow.
Albi Ali is the first to try the treatment on humans. After 20 minutes a day, new teeth started to grow in a month.
So that's kind of a big deal. Obviously, they put a kibosh on his whole plan when he started going public, talking about how he was going to regenerate people's teeth, because he was about to put every dentist out of business. And this is the thing, a lot of technology comes into the limelight and they're like, oh, no, Invention Secrecy Act, we got to hide that so that you don't know about that. Now, we have had people with pearl powder, they've had a chipped tooth, and they've had a little bit of regeneration from that. But when it gets into it, frequency plays a role. And putting fluoride into your mouth just burns holes in your teeth. Obviously, the dentist doesn't want to tell you that, but yeah, I would look into the Canadian fellow who was regenerating teeth with frequencies, because it's a pretty cool one. That's what it is.
Very cool.
Yep. And I had mentioned that before about a Canadian dentist who was doing this, and yet you're not hearing about it right now. So if
let me do a Google search. I want to get his name.
Okay. The other thing is with that frequency. The comment was that the dentist would lose business, of course. But people don't have to suffer.
Huh.
Because the fact that these will gently regrow the teeth. And this is becoming more and more true everywhere. Like tomorrow, Tuesday's story is going to be how to use frequency to dissolve tumors.
Huh.
So that, and I'm going to be finding out these stories. I'm going to be putting them out there because if anybody goes to the dentist, make sure that you tell the dentist that you want to find out what he knows about Dr. Tarek L. Bailey.
Wow. Now, here's the scary part. I just Googled Canadian dentist who can regrow teeth. And I didn't get anything about conspiracy theories. I didn't get any lies or false propaganda. I got Dr. Tarek L. Bailey. He's a Canadian dentist who has made significant strides in regrowing teeth using ultrasound technology. Pretty much exactly what you said. His research at the University of Alberta has led to the development of a device that can simulate new tooth growth in humans. After applying the ultrasound for 20 minutes a day, new teeth begin to grow within a month. This innovative approach offers a potential solution for athletes and individuals with tooth loss, allowing for the regrowth of missing or damaged teeth. So this is real. We got to take this seriously.
That's right. Yeah. And anything to do with frequency, a lot of people say, oh, no, that'll hurt you. I mean, they talk about frequency and EMF and all this Wi-Fi stuff.
Yeah.
Well, frequencies are good for you because they'll regenerate. They'll also turn your tumors into slush, which is what Tuesday's story is all about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is an area of medicine that needs to be looked into more. I agree with you 100%. We spend so much time saying that ERs don't work anymore, and the medicines that the people prescribe at ERs don't work anymore, and people wait 5 hours at a stretch in the ER for a doctor, and there's so many changes going on right now that most people know nothing about.
Exactly. Yeah. So what do you, whenever you're going to the dentist, right, based on this story, you should confront your dentist about this technology. If your dentist says, "Oh, that hasn't been proven yet," or it hasn't, it's not accepted yet, well, then say bye-bye.
I would, I don't know what to say. I would argue that the doctor cited in the paper, Tarek L. Bailey, is considered to be making great strides in this area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Go figure.
we might have the wrong data. What do we do?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Let's wind up for tonight. It's been a long day. I got a cold. I'm surprised I didn't cough myself to an early death tonight. But Richard, what's on your plate for the next couple of days?
Well, I got the stories lined up for Monday and Tuesday. And I've got to do, I think I still have some editing to do.
Okay.
I will check that. But still, let's just see if I can bring up tomorrow's story. What's the date tomorrow? Tomorrow's the 13th.
13th.
Let's just see here. Let's go over here. And go over here. Wake up. I don't know why my system is misbehaving these days. Let's see now. 13th. Special presentation. The Dark Side of Beauty. A documentary. This is it's an hour and a half long, this one. It's a documentary exposing Botox.
Oh, wow.
A few other things. So when I saw that, I thought I better tell people about it because I've known Botox is not something that you want to put into your body.
I would tend to agree.
Well, it is a poison that they put in.
Well, yeah, it makes the skin
tight,
not be able to move. It kills everything on the inside.
That's right. Kills the nerves and all that. And of course, it makes it tight.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you look like you're a plastic doll.
Huh.
So
I don't know. Anyway, I don't like the idea of I don't know. Men generally don't need to look beautiful into their 60s or 70s, so we're very lucky that way.
Hey, I'm almost 70.
Yeah, and women need to be different things at different times in their life. Yep. And they don't have to be beautiful after a certain point. They have to be intelligent and wise.
That's right. Yeah.
So we will see what happens.
And I'll be doing my show starting at 7:30 on Monday and starting at 7:30 on Tuesday. And then I'll be back on Tuesday at 5 p.m. with you. And,
another edition of Last Week Today.
That's right. And then Thursday and Friday, I'll be doing my news stories as far as I can tell. I've been able to collect a lot of them. For a while there, I couldn't see anything that was worthwhile playing. And now I'm starting to see more again. So we'll see.
7:30 a.m. Pacific time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And one long hour and a half piece?
Yeah, Monday is going to be an hour and a half piece.
Wow. I might watch it. We are so wrapped up in the stupid things.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, as for this show tonight, we normally record every Sunday night at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on a variety of internet platforms, including the one you are watching. We republish next day on our Substack page at chuckblack.substack.com. And most of our stories slide behind a paywall after a month online. To get out from under that onerous restriction, we'd like some money to help us keep the lights on in the building. $20 Canadian a month, $160 per year. This entitles you to access archive posts, anything over a month old. It also includes lots of in-depth stuff not included with our regular segments. And we also have a Substack page to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone and subscriber chat so you can tell us what you really, really want. My name's Chuck Black. I directed using StreamYards. Richard uses it for his morning shows, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. And I think we mostly both recommend StreamYards, but only if you sign up using either Richard's link or my link. We get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray some of our costs. Well, I think tonight Marianne contributed. She came up with a nuanced piece. I thought that was fascinating. Richard came up with some really good stuff, and Richard talked about validating the data. In the final analysis, that's what we need to do with everything. We need to validate the data. As for me, I'm a slow, plodding journeyman guy who types up a lot of stuff and sees what everybody else does. And I think that's all for tonight. Richard, am I missing anything?
No, the only thing is I've reduced my StreamYard down to a monthly bill instead of the annual bill, because the annual bill was going to be a big hit. So I figured, well, I'll just do this monthly. Yeah.
I understand. StreamYard is pricey at a point. One thing that I've noticed is that all the free services that were available 2 years ago to go online and to do useful things, people are attempting to monetize their investments in these applications, and they're starting to charge money for it. I hope this doesn't happen too much more, but it costs money to connect all the dots on what happened during the week. Hope you can help us out.
Yep.
Good night, Richard. I'll see you in a couple days.
See you, people.